Hello everyone, today I'm going to be talking about another piece in the AMEB AMUS syllabus, English Suite No. 2 in A minor Prelude, composed by none other than the legend himself, Johann Sebastian Bach. Before we go any further, let's take a look at who Bach was. Johann Sebastian Bach was a German composer and organist from the late Baroque period. He was born into a family of musicians in Eisenach, a town in northern Germany, in 1685. He received violin and organ training from his father and his older brother Johann Christoph. When he was 15, he became a paid chorister at St. Michael's Church in Lüneburg, with various other positions such as violinist and organist. In 1708, Bach was appointed court organist to the Duke of Weimar. Bach composed many of his great organ works at this time, as well as cantatas and instrumental music. In 1717, Bach became Kapellmeister, or the director of music for the Prince of Cöthen. Prince Leopold of Cöthen had a fine orchestra that composed of 18 members, and Bach wrote many of his great instrumental works at the time for this group of musicians. From 1723 onwards, Bach was cantor or singing master at St. Thomas's Church in Leipzig. In his first few years there, he wrote an astonishing number of cantatas for church service, sometimes even as few as one every week. In the final years of his life, Bach's eyesight deteriorated, and he died in Leipzig in 1750 at the age of 65. Bach was an unrivaled master of counterpoint, which means having two or more equally important voices heard simultaneously, making a lot of his music highly complex. Throughout his life, he was appreciated more for his organ playing than for his compositions, and by the end of his life, a lot of his music were deemed too old-fashioned, as a much more simpler and more elegant style came into vogue. Bach composed an astonishing number of works in his lifetime. For his keyboard works, he composed 6 partitas, 6 English suites and 6 French suites, 17 toccatas, 15 inventions, 15 sinfonias, the famous Goldberg Variations, Italian Concerto, and another famous work of Bach is the Well-Tempered Clavier, with 48 preludes and fugues in 2 books. He also composed shorter works such as preludes and dances. He composed more than 250 works for organ, including chorale preludes, trio sonatas, solo concertos, and toccatas. Some of Bach's compositions for choral include St. Matthew Passion and St. John Passion, Mass in B minor, Magnificat, Christmas Oratorio, and over 200 church cantatas and over 20 secular cantatas. Some of his instrumental and orchestral music includes 6 Brandenburg concertos, concertos for 1, 2, 3, or 4 harpsichords, 2 violin concertos, a concerto for 2 violins, 4 orchestral suites, 6 cello suites, 6 sonatas and partitas for violin, 3 of each, 6 sonatas for violin harpsichord, 3 sonatas for viola da gamba and harpsichord, and the musical offering. Bach's works are indexed by Wolfgang Schmieder, known as BWV. The BWV number identifies the piece. Now, some of Bach's contemporaries included François Couperin, Tommaso Albinoni, Antonio Vivaldi, George Philipp Telemann, Jean-Philippe Rameau, George Frederick Handel, and as well as Domenico Scarlatti. Music from the late Baroque period was often elaborate and complex. Some of the characteristics of Bach's works include counterpoint, ornamentation and embellishment like trills, particularly at cadence points, imitation between the voices, sequences, modulations to closely related keys. This can be seen more clearly in some music using the circle of fifths, monothematic form, long phrases, steady rhythmic pulse, hemiola rhythm before some important cadence points, and tierce de Picardy endings in minor keys. Bach composed 6 English suites, probably before 1722 while he was still working as Kapellmeister for Prince Leopold. The term suite means a collection of dance pieces, each in the same key. The English suites are longer and more difficult than the French ones, each beginning with a lengthy prelude. That being said, a prelude is an introductory movement, not a dance, and most preludes are based on a recurring melodic motif and have spontaneous or improvisatory character. This prelude is the second of Bach's 6 English suites. It is in ritornello form in A minor, with a broad ternary ABA structure. Ritornello means returning theme, and it alternates with contrasting passages called episodes. There is also a perpetual motion rhythm, with continuous semiquavers in one hand or the other in almost every bar. Well, that's it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next episode.